It started with a glance and ended with a silence heard around the world. Prince Harry stood center stage, mid-speech, microphone in hand. The moment was his, until it wasn't. Out of nowhere, Meghan Markle appeared behind him, uninvited, unexpected, completely off script. She tapped his shoulder, forcing him to pause. And for a second, time froze. The cameras caught Harry's face, startled, tense, almost annoyed. He turned to her, but didn't hand her the mic. And just like that, something shifted. For the first time, Harry held on literally and symbolically. The man who once begged for Meghan to be heard kept speaking for himself. In that tiny, unscripted gesture, years of speculation took shape. Their dynamic, their entire relationship, began to look very different. And the crowd? Dead silent. No applause, no cheers, just cold, uncomfortable tension. Prince Harry didn't flinch, he didn't move, didn't offer the mic, didn't even pretend. Meghan stood beside him, smiling for the cameras like it was business as usual, but his body language said it all. His grip tightened. He wasn't letting go. And for anyone who's followed this couple, that moment was jarring. Because this wasn't just a mic, it was a metaphor. Remember, Harry has always been the one pulling Meghan forward into the spotlight. He once pleaded with an announcer to let her speak instead, practically begged on stage, only to get laughed off. He's interrupted press runs to give Meghan room to shine. But not this time. This time, he kept talking. And the audience? Frozen. It wasn't that they disapproved, it was worse. They were indifferent. Meghan had inserted herself into his moment, and no one cared. No applause. No polite smiles. Just silence. She lingered next to him, half on stage, half rejected, waiting for a reaction that never came. Until finally, she turned and walked off. Alone. By the next morning, you'd never know any of it happened. Mainstream outlets plastered glowing headlines and picture-perfect stills, Meghan smiling, Harry standing proudly beside her. Carefully cropped images made it look like a united front, a power couple moment. But what those pictures didn't show was the video, the body language, the resistance, the tension. The moment Meghan stormed off while Harry turned away. Because that footage? It exists. Multiple angles. Full audio. But not one major outlet released it. Why? Why bury what so many cameras caught in real time? There's a reason. That clip told a different story than the one being sold. That clip stripped away the filters and exposed exactly what the palace, the press, and perhaps Meghan herself didn't want the world to see: rejection, silence, detachment. The crowd barely reacted. There was no support, no applause, no spark. This wasn't the fairy tale comeback the headlines promised. It was a cold glimpse at a reality far less polished. And the fact that it was intentionally edited out? That silence speaks louder than any PR campaign ever could. When Meghan walked off that stage, she wasn't just leaving in silence, she was walking straight into a storm. Sources close to the couple say the backstage clash was immediate. Harry, furious that she had barged in. Meghan, seething that he didn't stop everything to let her speak. To the outside world, it looked like a minor hiccup. But behind the curtain, it was personal. It always is when the dynamic of power shifts, and this time, Harry wasn't playing the supportive husband. He didn't follow her, didn't chase, didn't smooth things over in front of the cameras like he used to. He let her walk and stayed exactly where he was. And for Meghan, that wasn't just humiliating, it was betrayal. The microphone had always been hers, even when it wasn't. It was her tool, her voice, her identity. Being denied that in public by Harry wasn't just a snub. It was a statement. A quiet, final one. What started as an awkward moment became something far more telling, not about stage presence, but about a marriage visibly unraveling under the weight of resentment. Because when Harry chose to hold on to that mic, he wasn't just keeping Meghan from speaking, he was, for the first time, speaking for himself. While Meghan was trying to reclaim her spotlight, something far more telling was happening behind the scenes, and it had nothing to do with microphones or stage lights. Just weeks ago, Harry appeared at official government events in Ukraine. No longer a working royal. Stripped of military titles. technically just another celebrity. And yet, foreign officials addressed him as His Royal Highness, a title the palace reportedly removed years ago. So why was it used at a state-level event, under strict diplomatic protocol? Because someone quietly, intentionally, had to approve it. Someone in Buckingham Palace. Behind Harry's decision to hold on to that microphone may lie something deeper. A man no longer just acting as Meghan's plus one. A prince who, despite the headlines, is still being treated like royalty where it counts. The institution hasn't shut the door as tightly as they want you to think. Now add this. Reports claim Harry is slated to appear publicly with King Charles, not this year, not next, but in 6 years. 6. A timeline so oddly specific it raises eyebrows. What are they planning? A carefully timed reentry? A long con to preserve relevancy and soften public reception? Or is this just a dangling carrot to keep the public guessing and keep Harry marketable? Whatever it is, Meghan's not part of the whispers. She's in the photos, sure. But when protocol is being negotiated, titles offered, long-term optics discussed, she's nowhere to be seen. In a chess game this calculated, it's becoming clear Harry may still have a seat at the table. Meghan? She's starting to look like a piece being removed from the board. Meghan's return to the stage should have been flawless, polished, powerful, impossible to ignore. Instead, it was anything but. She arrived dressed for attention, in what should have been a show-stopping designer gown, yet somehow the elegance fell flat. The fabric clung awkwardly, creased and wrinkled. Buttons left undone down to the navel, a spray tan too heavy, too orange under the stage lights. And while the cameras caught her smiling, stretching that signature grin across her face, her eyes told a different story. Fury barely concealed beneath forced warmth. Witnesses say it wasn't just her appearance that stood out, it was her role. Or lack of one. After the on-stage snub, Meghan was quietly moved to the sidelines. Organizers made sure she stayed backstage, kept out of sight, her presence reduced to a brief, awkward interruption. Subtle, but brutal. Once front and center, now benched. And that silence from the crowd? It cut deeper than any headline. Meghan expected applause. She got blank stares. The attention she thrives on, the kind that once followed her effortlessly, now felt strained, manufactured, even uncomfortable. And everyone in the room picked up on it. That big smile stayed glued to her face, but those in the audience saw the cracks. Because anyone who's followed Meghan knows the pattern. When she's being ignored, dismissed, mocked, the smile grows wider, faker, tighter. It's her armor. But this time, even the armor looked fragile. That microphone wasn't just equipment, it was everything. For years, Harry's default was deference. Let Meghan speak. Step aside. Share the spotlight. Hand her the platform without being asked. And every time, he did it willingly. Proudly, even. But not this time. This time, he gripped the mic and held on. He didn't flinch. Didn't improvise a joint moment. Didn't cave to the cameras or Meghan's expectations. He simply kept talking. And that silence? It said what words never could. For the first time in their public life together, Harry chose not to fade into the background. He didn't perform devotion. He didn't play the part. He stood in the spotlight alone and made it clear this moment would be his and his alone. For Meghan, that wasn't just rejection. It was rejection in front of the world. And if her storming off was emotional, Harry's refusal to follow was even louder, because Meghan is used to being affirmed, not ignored. She thrives where attention flows freely, where perception can be managed. But this time, she couldn't manage it. Harry didn't bend. He didn't play along. And every second that he chose silence over saving the moment was a second that shattered the illusion. Because the fairy tale wasn't cracked anymore, it was clearly broken. Not by tabloids, not by headlines, but by the choice of a husband who decided, finally, to stop handing over the microphone.